Thank God my mic is not picking that up. May have picked up what I said. That's not what I'm hoping. It doesn't pick up the TV over there. It's on. It's watching something. But yeah, it's something. That is something. That is for sure. Either way, good afternoon. Back again for the second part of this. Because, you know, I love these games. Ace Attorney is one of my favorite franchises. I love this show. Also a good excuse for me to practice making the worst voices, some of the worst voices I've seen. Either way, let's see if I remember half of them again. The witness's secrets. Also, Saseki has not stopped moving since the beginning of this whole thing. Swear to God, Saseki, you need, like, a chill pill. Asked the English woman for an interview, but she declined, so I left the hut while making a fuss.
Hold it!
Let's press him on these. You asked her for an interview, you say? Well, of course I did. I wanted to ask her about the incident she was involved in. Thank you, Saber Alter, for the follow. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the stream. God, I really only get... I do get all the all the Fate fans. Which, being fair, I do stream FGO a lot, so I can't really complain there. Either way, thank you for the follow, buddy. Thank you for the follow, buddy. Also, if you're wondering why I look downwards, no second screen. Best I got. Something just... Oh. I'm blind! Wait. Well, of course I did. I want to ask her about the incident she was involved in at the end of last year. About the game in which Dr. John H. Wilson lost his life. That's not how I phrased it. Many memoism calls for straight talking. Why did you murder Dr. Wilson? This is how I put it to her. Yes, that sort of talking is as straight as a ruler. Ask every question as if you're asking for a menu in a restaurant. I say, it's the best way. A veteran at the paper taught me that. And how did Miss Brad answer? With one simple phrase. Mystery is a woman's charm. Whew. That told me. So I waltzed right out of there. Really? Something about that doesn't quite seem to fit together. Yeah, a bit weird. Leave why would he just leave like this? He's a journalist, right? Like, usually they try to get more info out of people. Doesn't make a lot of sense. They just stop there. Leave every room as if you're watching in the dance hall, I say. It's the best way. A veteran at the paper taught me that. Then, watching secretly from outside, I saw the woman being stabbed and the other witnesses come running.
Hold it!
That was very persistent of you, considering that Miss Brad had just turned you away. Persistence wins the prize. Any many memoists will tell you that. Let them think you've left, then just when they lower their guard, that's when you swoop in for the scoop. And the fruits of your labor are all too apparent in this telling photograph. Well, I'm sure the young Yokelster would rather not be reminded of this damning evidence. Actually, it's thanks to that photograph that we managed to identify this witness. And now that you found me, I'll tell you whatever you want to know. I've got nothing to hide. I'm sure. Please do go ahead, witness. The court is eager to hear what you have to say. Try to stop me. There's a story to tell here, and I'm going to tell it. Sure, he's scribbling on the fucking notebook. The detective realized that the victim still... Oh, my bad. The detective realized that the victim still had the pulse, so he ran off to fetch help.
Hold it!
And Soseki-san remained behind in the hut. That's right. Yep. Our orphan friend here was a blubbering wreck, shaking all over from his head to his toes, mustache twitching, eyes bulging. What do you expect? You don't know the terrifying troubles that encountered me whilst traveling abroad. Back behind baleful bars. They'll be coming for me, surely. That's all I could think. I realized why I was grasping for air, drawing in a sea of cold sweat. Poor Soseki-san. His experiences in the life scarred him deeply. As the world seemed to close in around me, I quietly recited a prayer to Amida Buddha. Eternal emptiness, empty eternity. The end is coming for me, surely. No sutras are to resound in my No sutras are to resound in my courtrooms. And now we come to the crucial part. That's when it happened. That's when this man here asked the woman a very significant question. Hold it. What question? What exactly did he say? Well now, you should hear that from the horse's mouth, I think. Don't you, Mr. Riderman? Ah! Out with it, you yokel hack! What did you say to her? What did you say to the dying Englishwoman? Well, in truth, I've been catching crabs at the water's edge and building a castle in the sand, you see. Oh, well, seaside is a place to be at leisure, I suppose, even for a grown man. But then all of a sudden, from that little beach hut, a young girl's panic-stricken cries for help pierced the air. Ray. I ran up the beach to see what was happening, to find a defending leaning over the collapsed victim. As soon as Begos and I saw Miss Brett on the ground, he sprinted off to get help. And then, just a moment later, I heard a faint moan. A moan from the dead Englishwoman. I nearly jumped out of my skin! But what did you ask her, Soseki-san? I asked her, who did this to you? Don't protract this any longer. How did the woman respond? She didn't! She didn't say it. She said nothing in response. But... Understand. You will answer the questions asked of you unambiguously. Now, without evasion or reticence, I demand that you amend your testimony. I will! Sorry, who done this to you? But she never replied. She just lifted a trembling finger and pointed in the direction of the defendant. This doesn't look good.
Hold it!
Let's press him. So he tried to find out who the culprit was. He who asks a question is a fool for a minute. He who does not remains a fool forever. And having been labeled a criminal twice during my time in Great Britain, I was quick to make up my mind. Better to be a fool for a minute than remain a fool in prison forever. Yeah, fair. However, you've indicated that the victim failed to respond, is that correct? I know why. I know why the Englishwoman said nothing. She was ignoring me because of my stupid mustache. Because I'm a Japanese. Oh dear, Saseki-san has really developed a dislike for the English, it seems. Having read the report on his time on Great, I can't say I'm surprised at his xenophobia. But the English woman didn't ignore you at all. Did she, Mr. Writer Man? Well, yes, alright. She didn't respond in a matter of speaking, I suppose. Because of the fucking pointing a finger.
Hold it!
Miss Brett pointed a finger at the defendant. Soseki-san, is that really true? Oh boy. It's not easy to stand here and say this, but... When we first entered the beach hut, the English woman was sprawled on the floor before us, with a student girl standing on the far side of her. And when I asked, who did this to you? The English woman summoned her last ounce of strength, pointed a trembling finger at the back of the hut. At the back? Which was, it can't be denied, the direction of the student girl who stands accused today. Uh-oh, that's not good. No. Sasaki-san, why on earth did you forget to mention this in your original testimony? But fiddlesticks, I say. We don't need that. Sorry, but that character is not part of this franchise. It is part of the League of Legends game, last time I checked. That family in a village. Little Marcium. All good, Raphael. All good, my man. You have a good time. Either way, we'll see you tomorrow, buddy. Don't worry about it. You can always watch the video later. I'll probably be posting this on eventually. Don't worry too much. This is not a British court of law. You will respond in Japanese. Yes, of course. The English woman did point her finger towards the back of the hut. But I was trembling, and she was trembling, and everything was a blur. And thinking about it, I realized, well, perhaps she was pointing in a slightly different direction. Actually, no, not slightly. In a very different direction to where the student girl was standing. Somewhere at the back of the hut, where nobody was standing at all. You mean that your memory of events and the direction in which the victim was pointing are both unclear? Yes, that's it. Unclear. I'm very, very unclear. Your Excellency, surely this proves the matter beyond all reasonable doubt. Yes, the woman may barely have been conscious, and yes, perhaps her finger wavered slightly. But there can be no doubt that this was an attempt by the victim to confirm the identity of her assailant. Why? Because as the court can see, there was no one other than the accused in the direction the victim was pointing. It is now abundantly clear that no one besides the accused could possibly have committed this crime. I am inclined to agree. And in the absence of any credible argument to the contrary, I believe we can now conclude this trial. No. No! The headline's right in itself. Dashing lawyers upstashed. 92 points across the whole page. We'll do an extra edition. This is a serious blow, Sasaki. Unless we're able to identify the true culprit and substantiate our claim with evidence, the judge will give his ruling and the trial will be over. But that's impossible, Father. We don't even know how the crime was committed yet. Impossible though the task may seem, we have no choice. Let's think back over everything we've learned thus far. Somewhere in all those details, I'm confident we'll find a clue. I think I know what is going on. She is pointing at the back. Because if you actually examine this photo, even just a teensy bit, like, this is where she was seated, right? Over there. Which means the probability is right there. See the crack in the wall? Someone was on the other side of the crack at the wall. And that's where she got killed from. Ray gave us her account of how events unfolded in the defendant's antechamber before the trial resumed. She told us what happened at the precise moment Miss Brad was killed. The Englishwoman was sitting at the back of the hut, listening to what I was saying. And then a moment later, she suddenly got to her feet. Before collapsing on the floor in front of me, with a knife in her back. How could Miss Brad have been stabbed in the back in a beach hut that was empty but for herself and Ray? Somewhere amid all the information we've gathered so far, there must be an answer to that question. There is. I take it then that the defense has nothing further to add. So, the gallant yokel student luck finally runs out. I can't say I'm surprised. In that case, I'm ready to deliver my final verdict on this matter. This is a crucial turning point now. I can't establish what really happened. It's over. Where was the real culprit hiding? And how did he or she stab the victim? Oh, I know how.
Objection!
I am very confident in my own argument this time. Your Excellency, I respectfully ask you to postpone your adjudication for the time being. Oh, to what end, Counsel? The defense would like to present the core of an alternative theory. An alternative theory that can explain who the victim was actually trying to implicate with her dying gesture. An alternate theory? Huh, none exists.
Objection!
There was someone else present at the scene who could have committed this crime. What? And the victim, Miss Brad, tried to reveal who it was to those around her at the time. By mustering all her remaining strength and pointing a trembling finger in the killer's direction. This is fiction! Fantasy! Very well. As you seem so sure of yourself, Holmes, I am prepared to hear your alternative view. So, young Ryotaro Naruhodo. Yes, Your Excellency. You will present your latest theory to the court by means of this. At the moment the victim was stabbed, where exactly are you proposing the criminal was concealed? Right there. Naruhodo-san would never give up, and I'm a Naruhodo now. The true culprit who fatally stabbed Miss Brad was concealed in this location here. Are you mad, Counsel? You're suggesting the culprit was outside the hut? Yep. What? What the... Order! 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 But student lawyer Naruhodo-san, Esquire. That makes no sense at all. You just pointed out the exact spot where I was hiding to get my scoop snap. But I didn't see any suspicious individual lying about. I can swear to that. Obviously, if the crime had been outside the hut, there is no way that he or she could have stabbed the victim who was inside the hut. Actually, Prosecutor Aochi, there is a way. And, in point of fact, the defense can provide evidence strongly suggesting that is precisely the way Miss Brad was killed. You're bluffing! You're bluffing! You're joke! The defense's assertion is clearly too fantastical for the court to comprehend. You will need to give us more guidance, Counsel. What piece of evidence corroborates your theory that the victim was stabbed from outside the hut? Well, this. The stab would is clearly visible. Let's examine some. And the fire that would occur in minutes. I don't think this is gonna be enough. No trace of poison was found on the blade. Incriminating photograph. Let's see this one. I mean, we could see this one is the thing. But I'm gonna use the other photograph. I think it's this other one.
Take that.
Because you can see the crack in the back. The original photographic print of the crime scene. Yes, it's clearly visible in this print. The trace of the fatal thrust that was delivered from outside the beach hut.
Objection!
Do you take us for fools? There's no hint of any such thing. I'm not sure that everyone present would agree. Someone, at least, appears to have noticed what it is that I'm referring to. Yep. Counsel. Counsel, once again I must call on you to be explicit to the court. Where on this photograph is the trace of the stabbing which you claim took place from outside the house? Right up there. You can kinda tell. Look closely just here. You're in the screen at the back of the hut. You can see the effects of a blade having been forced through the reeds. No, I can't. I can't see any such thing. It's true that the hut in question had 4 walls as you'd expect. However, by parting the reeds, a knife blade could easily penetrate them. This is extraordinary. Yes. The true culprit actually stabbed the victim from outside the beach hut. And of everyone present at the scene, there was only one person who could have done that. Only one person who was directly outside the hut when Miss Brad was killed. Right then, Memo-san. It could have only have been you. No! No!
Objection!
This preposterous idea leaves me almost speechless. Just look at the photograph again. No, that was a little too much to second. This preposterous idea leaves me almost speechless. Just look at the photograph again. The victim lies almost exactly in the center of the beach hut, does she not? Are we to assume, as part of this farcical scenario, that the assailant was a knife thrower?
Objection!
No, of course not. We're not. We're not? We're not? Do you recall the testimony of the defendant about the events just before the victim's death? Inside the beach hut, I confronted Miss Brett, but she just sat on a stool at the back of the hut, smiling sweetly at me as if she knew she was untouchable. Yep. A stool? A stool? Have another look at the photograph. The slit in the read screen would align perfectly with the back of a person who was sitting on that stool. My word. So, in fact, the victim was killed while sitting on that stool by a stab wound to her back delivered through the read screen. Having been attacked, Miss Brad rose to her feet instinctively. But then, unable to speak, she collapsed on the floor in the middle of the hut. Before the defendant, Membami-san's paled eyes. And that, Your Excellency, is the truth of what happened on the beach that day. He's still kind of like, By your silence, Memo-san, I take it that you don't deny the charge. This is absurd! Absurd! That will do. It would appear that we have a tacit admission of guilt from the witness. Accordingly, this court has successfully established the truth of this matter, which means that the defendant, Membami-san, is innocent of the crime. Oh, thank goodness. Finally made him cave. This feels a little too easy. I must say, I've never been more proud. No, this can't be. The Aochi clan can't. But of my growth of hope. It was all an apparition. I can't accept this. I won't. I won't. I see no reason for the continuance of this trial. I will therefore move to conclude proceedings by delivering my final... Hold it? Well, this is all very convenient. This is how the highest court in our mighty empire delivers justice, is it? Suppressing well-meaning citizens' freedom of to speak and branding them as criminals. But we've established that the victim was stabbed from outside the hut, with the reed screen walls. And no one but you was in place at the time to have his hand on the hilt of the blade. It's a perfectly logical deduction. So, your argument hinges on the location of whoever stabbed the English woman, does it? Well, it seems a little irrelevant now. Irrelevant? Where she was stabbed, how she was stabbed. It doesn't matter. I mean, whether she was stabbed at all makes no difference if you think about it. After all, this trial's already shown the whole thing hinges on something else. What the hell? That's a new pose. He hasn't done this one before. On something else? What are you talking about? Brace yourself, little man. I'm talking about the fact that everything's changed. Because of the dirt you dug up. What? Enough obscurity. Explain yourself with... Enough obscurity. Explain yourself with this. What's to explain? I'm talking about the poison, of course. The poison? Let's ask the professor for a comment on the situation, shall we? I understand that the deadly poison you were developed was sold from your laboratory, correct? And it's been shown that this poison was administered to the victim, Miss Brett. Is that right? That is correct. The initial construction of the victim's pupils are a sure sign that this particular poison was used. I see. So, presumably that means that the victim already had the poison in her body before she was stabbed. Given that her pupils were clearly constricted, it seems highly likely, yes. If she had been dead already, the poison could not have circulated in her. How refreshing to hear the argument of a metropolitan mind. Fine. Precisely. It matters not a jot who stabbed whom in whose back and with whose blade. Because, quite simply, the Englishwoman's life was taken not by the knife, but by the poison. Oh, now you're in favor of it being through the poison. You dick.
Objection!
You freaking dick. But that can be explained by the poison being on the blade, as I already...
Objection!
There was none. Forgotten already, have we, yokel? During these very proceedings, the laboratory of the professor and your side assisted in proving that the blade of the weapon used to attack the victim had no trace of poison on it whatsoever. So let me get this down. The facts, as skillfully established by the defense in this trial, turned out to be a headline-making red herring. Is that about right? Well... Yeah, I can't do that. There's a limit to how much I can do that. Order! Order! But where does this leave us? How, in that case, did the poison enter the victim's body? There is an undeniably obvious answer to that. The lady most likely imbibed it. You mean she drank it? Have another look at the photograph here. As you can see, as you can see. A bottle of carbonated water in the glass had been knocked onto the sanded floor of the beach hut. Poison could have been slipped into either. So somebody made Miss Brett drink it. Well, what do you know? Look at those dashing eyes. This will make a great front-page shot. Hey, why the bewitching stare? After all, I'm the last person you should be looking at. It would make no sense at all that I poisoned the woman, would it? I mean, that's been established already.
Hold it!
Established? What are you talking about? Don't tell me you've forgotten. That's a little hard to believe, given that the person who established it was you. Me? Me? What on earth does he mean? Oh, let me carve this with white ice. This is prime press fodder, this is. It would seem that this trial is not destined to end yet after all. I hereby call upon the witness to give further testimony. That's great, that is. Let me get a shot of that magnificent beer, Your Excellency. You claim it to be impossible that you were the one responsible for administering the poison to the victim. You will explain to the court in your testimony the basis upon which you make such a claim. I'm a journo and I'm a man. I've never tried to run or hide from anything in my life. And I'm not about to start now. Because that's many memoism. God, I hate that word. I'm swear to God I'm hating this word by the second. For a brief moment, I thought I'd illuminated the truth, but it slipped right back into obscurity again. Just where is this trial going to take us? In a very weird direction, it seems. Witness testimony. Complete innocence. Oh yes, I stabbed the English woman, and it's that very fact that proves I'm innocent. Because why would I have bothered to stab the woman if I had already poisoned her? When I heard the student girl had a pompous English murder argument, it got my goat. If the courts weren't going to punish Brett for what she did, someone else would have to see justice done. So, you admit it then, that everything happened as I described? That you are the one who stabbed Miss Brett on the back through the read screen? You can blame this miserable country of ours. Country that bows to pressure of foreign powers and lets murderers walk free. What kind of future can a country like that have? That's why I did it. I didn't want our pathetic leaders didn't have the guts to do. Slapping in the middle of that charming lady's back. Plunge the blade of sweet justice right in there. Jeez, well, talk about, as someone who spends his life seeing that the truth is told, I feel really off about giving false information in my testimony before. But as it turns out, there was somebody else who had it in for the victim and got to her before. That's right, you guessed it. That pretty little student girl. Now there's a woman after my own heart. You're implicating Ray again. She's the one who gave the poison to the English woman and ended her pitiful existence. And suddenly, snap! Junior is off the hook. The argument is sound, sir. If the witness had administered the poison himself, he need only have waited for it to take effect. Subsequently, stabbing the victim in the back would have been entirely nonsensical. And therefore, this report had nothing to do with the poisoning. Yes, it's all quite logical. That's right, it is. Logical and true. Glad you've all seen the light. Justice at last. This is unbelievable. Nafra made so much progress in proving his guilt. Is he going to get away with it now? Nope. We still have a cross-examination to do, girl. Let's go, Sasato. We still have one cross-examination finished. Think of Kazuma-sama and Naruhodo-san. They never stopped looking for a way forward until the judge's final gavel. Very well then. Proceed with what I assume to be your final cross-examination in this trial. Okay, probably the final one. Yes, Your Excellency. Let's go. We got, I think, 4 lines of dialogue in this. Complete innocence. Yeah, 4. Let's see what he has to say from the first one. So, you do admit that you had murderous intentions for Miss Bradley? Ah! The woman's very existence offended my sense of justice. Your sense of... displaying some sort of righteous indignation? She was pure evil. A cold-blooded killer who committed murder right here on our Empire's soil. But did our good-for-nothing government do anything? Not a chance. So I had to step in. Fly the flag of justice. Put things right for the people. Yes, it was my civic duty. That's what drove me to do it. So, in summary, murderous intentions then. Whatever you want to call it. The point is this. That English woman was a blight. So I had to do what was right. For society. That rhyme. Holy shit, that rhyme. Yet the real wrong was done by the student girl in the dock. A crime from which she must pay. Obviously, because the poisoning was nothing to do with me at all. Because why would I have bothered to stab the woman if I had already poisoned her? So you still maintain that you didn't give the poison to the victim? Obviously. That'd be like putting a belt on your trousers when you were already wearing braces like these. A belt on your trousers when you're already using the suspenders. The accused administered of poison, following which the witness went to stab the victim. An unforgivable act, certainly, but not one of murder. That crime rests on the accused's shoulders. I'm pretty sure she should probably go to jail for attempted murder. I mean, this would still be technically considered attempted murder, probably, right? So that would still be jail time. Attempted homicide is still, you know, a thing that, you know, gives you jail. As much like homicide as well, obviously, but attempted is also there. That is how the law works, you see, yokel. Who knows? You may even learn something here today. 2 consecutive attempts on her life in the space of minutes. Quite a day for the victim. Do something that evil, and you've got it coming. That's how the law works. The law of reckoning. That's not the kind of law this court upholds. You will reiterate why you were compelled to stop the victim, then, witness. When I heard the student girl and that pompous English murderer arguing, it got my goat. Oh? What exactly were they arguing about? About what happened in that restaurant 9 months ago, that's what. The student girl was laying into the English woman for killing her beloved mentor, Dr. Wilson. Yes, John H. Wilson, professor of medicine, invited here from England by Professor Mikotova no less. Right, but the English woman just jeered. Her case was to be heard by the British Consular Court in Shanghai. However, there is a little doubt that she would simply have been acquitted and sent back to her homeland a free woman. It was eating that student girl up inside. You could see it. I really felt for her. Oh. That was not me. Hold it! I can't. I can't stand here and listen to this tripe. Ray. Young girl, you stand accused here. You can't just blurt out whenever you feel like it. No, you can't. Sorry, but I'm in the middle of some very important testimony here. Just keep quiet and listen. But this awful man is making all of this up. Susato, please, you have to make them listen. Return to the dock at once, my buddies. We are in the middle of a cross-examination. Your Excellency, please, I implore you. The troll is clearly not a trustworthy witness. Exactly, he's a filthy, rotten, black-hearted, bigoted, great peeping Tom. Whoa, take it easy there. Please, I really think the court should hear what the defendant has to say. Your Excellency, I see no need whatsoever to entertain the accused's remarks. I will grant the request of the defense. But, Your Excellency! I will take that. This is likely to be the final cross-examination of these proceedings. As such, I believe it would be ill-advised to stifle the defendant's obvious concerns. So, whilst recognizing that this contravenes regular protocol, I hereby call upon the defendant to speak. I love this judge, by the way. This judge is fucking awesome. In both design and just... Goddamn, the man is, like, on point. Like, this judge, thumbs up to this judge. Oh. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. There we go, we got something. It was nothing to do with Dr. Wilson. We were discussing the stolen poison. That is true. Well, let's press anyways. The stolen poison that killed the victim, you mean? I suspected her of being the one to steal it. I mean, just think about how she killed Dr. Wilson. That's true. Additionally, Miss Brett certainly had knowledge of new poison. But surely it would be no easy task to steal a highly secret toxin being developed for the government. Indeed, all visitors of the laboratory are thoroughly searched when they leave. Even if a thief managed to avoid being by myself or a colleague, getting the poison out would be very difficult. That's true. I pestered Professor Mikatoma until he agreed to show me the points when I visit the laboratory, his laboratory. But as I left, I was searched from top to tail. Miss Fred rather bluntly revealed the existence of the toxin being developed. See? And since Sasaki-san expressed such an interest in it, I felt unable to refuse. Obviously, I gave nothing away, other than the fact that it was an extremely potent substance. I'm very ashamed of myself. It's just that I've had a singularly terrible experience with a deadly poison. I wanted to look at my old enemy in the eye. Surely you can understand that. To find out if my suspicions were true, I confronted Miss Brett about the poison. I told her that if there were to be an incident involving it somehow, it wouldn't just be the university. The military would be dragged into it. The whole government even. It would be a complete disaster. Oh boy, that sounds extremely serious. And how did Miss Brett respond to your concerns? She just curled those beautiful lips of hers and said she didn't know the first thing about it. In English, actually. Ah, yes. Minimemo-san, one small question if you don't mind. I do mind. Can't you see I'm busy? Clearly, you were outside the beach, but listening in whilst the defendant and Miss Brett were conversing. Presumably, then, it was you who wrote the article about what you'd heard. True. Exclusive. Deadly poison stolen from Yume Medical Research Laboratory. The story was published in this morning's edition of Shoyu News. The details are too accurate for it to have been written by anyone else. Sorry, don't know what you're talking about. Yes, look at this. The entire article is almost what I said to Miss Brett, word for word. Ah! Well, Minimemo-san. As a journal, and as a citizen of a free country, I don't have to reveal my sources. That's a founding principle of Mini-Memoism. Father's clearly right about this. The Emperor did write that article, and he based it on what he overheard from outside the hut. So that, we now know. He knows about the poison. So, what it was all about. So that's what it was all about. You were trying to cover up the fact you were listening in. That's why you came up with that stinking story about me arguing with her. Shut up! My stories never stink. Look, whatever you say, little girl, doesn't alter the facts. Your Excellency, there's something I want to say, and I want it to go on record. My god. Very well. You may amend your formal testimony. Jesus. The point is, if you poison someone, there would be no reason to go and stab that person as well. Something changed before. Oh shit, I misclicked. If the victim had unwillingly taken the poison, the report would have had no reason to stop. On the face of it, that logic sounds entirely reasonable. But there's no question that this man was responsible for Miss Pratt's murder. Could think of a plausible explanation as to why he might have stabbed her even after poison. Feel sure that everything will drop into place. That's what we should be looking for. Yes, I agree. In order to do that, we must try to glean more information. So, the point is trying to figure out why he would stab her even after the poisoning. Let's press him on this one first. Perhaps you doubted the efficacy of the poison and sought to make sure your victim would die. That's horse dung. What? That would be like pouring pepper on your Chinese ramen before you'd even taste it. Completely reckless. Although, it might surprise you to learn that I am a bit of an impetuous pepper powder. Or as it happens. Once the victim had taken the poison, she would have been only minutes away from death. And yet, this man then proceeded to stab her in the back as well. There has to have been a good reason for that. If it was the reporter who gave the poison to Miss Pratt, clearly he must have done it prior to re-entering the hut. Yes, that's undeniable. But between him leaving the hut and the victim being stabbed, was one very crucial change in the situation. Sorry? What change? The reporter overheard the conversation between Ray and the Englishman. Ah, yes, that's it. That's when Minimemo-san first found out the exact nature of the poison he used. That could be the key here. And I think because now we have the... Okay. Yeah, this is the repeat for me fucking up. Because he didn't know how well the poison would have worked. Remember, he gleaned by eavesdropping, which means he wouldn't know how the poison would have worked. So, to make sure, well, I can think of one reason. What? But before I explain, I'd like you to confirm something for the court. Did you glean all the information for this newspaper article from what you overheard outside the hut? Of course he did. There can be no questioning of that. After all, when we were all in the laboratory together, all we were told is that it was a terrible toxin. That's more Soseki. And there is one more important fact to consider. According to the witness... Wait, just to make sure I read that correctly. Membami-san's verbal attack against the victim began as soon as she entered the hut. Sorry. In other words, it would have been impossible for her to have slipped the poison into Miss Pratt's drink. Where are you going with this, Counsel? Where are you going with this, Counsel? Minimemo-san has made it quite clear that he observed every single thing that happened in the beach hut. If the defendant somehow found an opportunity, this man would have seen it. Which means that Miss Pratt couldn't have imbibed the poison whilst the defendant was present. In fact, it must have been administered to her before Minbami-san entered the hut. Yes, very articulately put. When I walked into the hut, I immediately started to press Miss Pratt about the poison. At which point, Minimemo-san overheard some worrying information. Worrying information? What worrying information? The information which he subsequently included in this newspaper article, namely, that the poison was being developed in strict secrecy, and that it couldn't be readily obtained. Yep. Absolutely. In fact, that's quite an understatement. The only possible place it could come from is my lab. Which means, oh! And furthermore, anyone afflicted by poison would exhibit telltale signs in death. The extreme constriction of the pupils. Yes, it's quite stark when you see it. There are other poisons that show similar symptoms, but not among new substances that are undetectable. In other words, it would be clear that the victim's life had been ended by the use of this particular poison, which would reduce the number of suspects to only a handful of people. Oh. Oh. Everyone in my laboratory is aware of the unique properties of the toxin we've been developing. None of them would be foolish enough to attempt to use it for some nefarious need. Remember me sounding no exception. Therefore, we can conclude that whoever administered this unique poison to the victim was a layperson, unaware of its telltale properties. In other words, someone like you, write in many memo. Hey, there's the music we've been waiting. There we go. There's the pursuit music we've been waiting for. Ah! There we go. It was you who stole the poison from the laboratory that day. And it was you who administered it to the unwitting victim. But you quickly realized that was a terrible mistake. Because the poison caused such unusual symptoms and was so traceable. As you listened in from the far side of the beach hut's thin walls, you learned of these facts. But you'd already given the victim the poison at that point. It was too late. So you hatched a plan to disguise your mistake. A plan that involves stabbing the victim in the back through the read screen. But what good could that possibly do? Isn't it obvious, Counsel? The plan was to kill Miss Brad before the poison could take effect. Once in the blood, the poison causes the onset of pupil constriction. But he had hoped to precipitate the victim's death before that happened, wasn't it? Exactly. Because without any revealing signs of the new secret poison's use, no one would ever have suspected. This is extraordinary. This is extraordinary. Yes, the effects of the poison many would be too easily identified, so the killer had to mask its use, which he attempted to do by plunging a knife into the middle of the victim's back. Though, wouldn't this even be easier, technically, if that was the case? Like, I mean, she literally got stabbed, so... Like, he would have been found out earlier then, which would be even easier? I don't know anymore. Order, order, order. The argument presented is sound. The court is satisfied that it warrants consideration. Does the prosecution have a counter-argument it wishes to put forward? Well, there are a number of... I mean, yes, I counter completely. Objection! The prosecution's evasive response clearly shows that in much the same way as he nurtures the remnants of his top-knot, he's clinging to lost hope. Lost hope? There we go. God damn it, he's gonna something again. Oh, not this time, not laughing. Ah! You pathetic, useless, fallen samurai. Fallen? Who are you calling fallen? I don't need a counter-argument. What are you talking about? It should be blatantly obvious. I stole the poison, you say. Give it to the victim, you say. Stabbed her, you say. Lots of fine theories. But I don't need a counter-argument. Because you don't have an argument yourself. Where's your evidence? Yes, you make it all sound so plausible, don't you? But without evidence, it means nothing. Whereas I base my news on facts. Facts? What do you mean? Explain yourself. I mean, what the professor said earlier in this trial. It's all here, in my many memos, every word, every slip of the tongue, all noted. That's what the Show You News is famous for. It's the power of the printed word. Ugh. But surely it would be no easy task to steal a highly secret toxin being developed for the government. Indeed, all visitors to the laboratory are thoroughly searched when they leave. Even if a thief managed to avoid being seen by myself or a colleague, getting the poison out would be very difficult. How's that then? Little story wide open. See, I write a mini memo, a mere reporter from the Show You News. Couldn't possibly have stolen that poison from the professor's laboratory. Boom. Touché, I guess. But there can't be any question of it. He must have stolen the poison that day. He stole it and used it to kill. And if that's the case, as you've identified, the poison itself is the definite evidence we need. Because whoever stole it from the laboratory that day is the true culprit here. What's your point, you annoyingly handsome country buck? My point is this. There is one way that you, Memo-san, could have stolen that poison that day. I have heard enough verbal conjecture now. What the court must be shown is evidence. What proof do you have that this witness stole the poison on the day in question? Okay, okay, it's not these. It has to be... I think it's one of these two. I just don't know which one. Containing my father and second on the big and quite spirited. Oh yeah, because he was there. Yeah. Because of the picture. Well, I think you'll agree that it's clearly demonstrated by this piece of evidence here. Oh god. How exactly? You couldn't know that until you've attempted yourself, Excellency. That being the case, you will attempt it yourself next time before poisoning with you, Mark. Oh dear, that didn't go down as well as I'd hoped. Well, in which the poison is kept still in the laboratory, which means that the thief must have transferred the quantity of it to another container. Oh, they want the actual proper way, okay. I should be looking for a piece of land that could be used some kind of vessel. Well, yes, that is more or less what I said. I already know. It's just... the question is weird. The witness stole the poison on the day in question. It's this. It's the fountain pen. The proof, Your Excellency, is this fountain pen. A fountain pen. How can that possibly be relevant? These magical pens somehow seem to have enough ink to write many thousands of kanji characters. I believe they arrived in our country for the first time some 15 years ago now. Bah! I swear by a whistle and our calligraphy brush and nothing else. These newfangled pens are merely a fad. Well, as forward-thinking man of words, obviously I love my fountain pen. Suck up a soupçon of sumptuous ink, and one's work is awash with words in the blink of an eye. That's right. Hot pens have a small reservoir in the barrel, into which ink is sucked up through the nib on the pen in order to write with later. What does all this talk of sucking out ink have? Ah! And just as it's possible to suck ink up into the reservoir, it's also possible to eject it through the nib again, of course. My word, can this really be? Well, mini memo-san. When you saw the deadly poison before your eyes in the laboratory that day, you used your fountain plan, your very lifeblood, to steal some of it, didn't you? By siphoning the poison up through the nib and into the pen's reservoir. Ah! Okay, we got him. More absurdity. That never happened. True, we've heard that there were procedures in place to prevent thefts like this from the laboratory. But would anyone have thought to look inside a fountain plan of all places? No. I'm a little ashamed to say that for fear of offending our guests, such a detailed search would not have been conducted. Well, this is quite startling, I must say. I remind the court that this pen was found in the clutches of the victim when she died. In other words, it was dropped at the scene by Mini Memo-san. So the crucial question is, when exactly was the pen dropped? Or are you suggesting? The natural conclusion is that in your haste to act whilst the victim was distracted for a moment, you dropped the pen after you emptied the poison from it into her glass. There can be any number of alternative explanations. For example, the master could have been using his pen to write down details of his conversation with the victim. And when shocked by one of her outrageous answers, the pen fell from his quivering hand. No, that can't be. If it was, how do you explain why the pen was devoid of ink? What? As you can see for yourself if you examine this evidence, there would appear to be no ink present in the reservoir. One newspaper reporter goes to interview someone with nothing in his pen. No, the pen was dropped after the poison that filled its reservoir had been emptied into the victim's glass.
Witness, what do you have to say in your defense? Witness, what do you have to say in your defense?
So this is how our modern justice system works, is it? So what if the ink in my pen runs dry? So what if my pencil snaps? I can always claw my way back into the game. I have plenty in reserve. Ah! Whoa there! Don't throw those pencils. Throw around the pencils. You claim I sucked the poison up into my pen. That's wild speculation, nothing more. Even thought you could bring down a fine, upstanding citizen with a trick like that. Think again. It looks as though it's going to take one final decisive blow to finish this fight. As I see it, the situation is now very simple. Rests upon whether or not the witness did indeed steal the poison on the day in question. And therefore, it all depends upon whether or not the defense can prove that he did with evidence. Ha! No such evidence could possibly exist. That's where you're wrong, buddy. Mini Memo-san, this is how our modern justice system works. What? In the courtroom, evidence is everything. Something you would do well to remember. Because we are well past the point of speculation at this stage, I assure you.
Very well then. I call upon the defense to present the aforementioned evidence.
This is it then. This will be the final piece in the puzzle. The defense can prove by means of this item that it was witness pen used to steal the poison. Use the chemical reagent to test the fucking pen.
Counsel, what is that bottle?
This bottle contains a unique chemical reagent that can identify the poison in question.
Yes, the poison is an entirely new synthesis of alkaloids developed by my colleagues and I. It would be impossible to detect traces of it by any other method.
Or, from another perspective, simply with this chemical reagent, anybody at all could check the traces for traces of the poison.
A reagent? What?
One drop of the contents of this bottle on the tip of your fountain pen, many mimosa, is all it will take to solve this case beyond all reasonable doubt.
No, you can't. I won't.
Your crimes are bad enough. I at least know when to admit defeat. Your Excellency, the defense requests permission to carry out the test on the fountain pen at once.
Oh god. This isn't my fault. The Empire drove me to this, trying to hold its high as civil as niche, but pirates said it. Oh!
Susato, with me. I'm there. Hiya! Hiya! Did I do it right? That was a Susato takedown, wasn't it? Not quite. That was a Ryutaro takedown.
Yeah, true.
Don't forget the name.
That was kind of funny.
The instant the first drop of the region touched the name of the fountain pen, it was clear to everyone present. He was guilty.
Oh god, this face. When I saw it there in the lab, the poison, the devil got hold of me, and I decided to do it on a whim. I excused myself and left all the ink down on the sink in the bathroom, washing the reservoir out carefully.
And then you waited for an opportunity to suck up some of the poison, didn't you? Into your fountain pen.
Yes, that's right. Answer me one thing, Benny Mebelson. Why did you steal it? For what purpose? Isn't it obvious? Find out what it was made of and expose it in an article. I mean, it was a secret project after all. Too juicy for a journal like me to pass up. Then why did the English woman end up dead? I went to that hut intending to quiz her on the situation, that's all. As a reporter. A known killer enjoying full freedom, evading justice by leaving the country. I told her what I thought of it. And she just laughed in my face.
Oh, what's this? A Far Eastern caveman purporting to practice journalism. Really, you must learn the difference between reporting and listening at doorways, you ignorant plebeian.
What? What did you call me?
This country, with its pretensions to a justice system, to a free press, it's really very depressing. You see our superior ways in the West, yet you lack the mental capacity to emulate them. Get out of here, you oaf. Get out and crawl back into the cave you came from.
Ooh. That's when I remembered. About the deadly poison I happened to have in my pen at the time. What a terrible tale. In my head, I knew I should just get out of there as quickly as possible. But I couldn't. I couldn't let her get away with that, what she'd done. When she clearly had no remorse at all. I suppose it was my journal spirit. Getting all fired up. Jesus, he's so depressed. God. I mean, I feel bad if he didn't murder someone, even though she was a killer herself. Eesh.
I'd like to ask you something.
Yes?
You often talk about justice. But surely as a journalist, you could have used other means to deliver the justice you sought.
Yep. There's no justice in the press.
Sorry?
After a trial 9 months ago, kept digging and digging to find out what had happened in that courtroom. Finally, I discovered the truth. It was a cover-up. That's what it was.
A cover-up? What do you mean?
I will remind you of your position. Be careful of what you say. Be careful of what you say. Oh, come on! Doesn't this strike you as strange? Certainly not allowed to convict a foreign national. Consular jurisdiction should never have come into it. And yet, that puffed-up Englishwoman was going to sail away into the sunset a free woman. The only possible explanation is that behind the scenes, some deal had gone down between Britain and Japan.
What sort of deal?
I'd done my research, dug up all the dirt. It was all ready to be published. But you know what happened? The editor just tore the article up. You came under pressure from the government. If our government's going to let criminals walk free, they're going to crush the free press. Then what choice do I have but to see that justice is done myself?
Let's not forget, Mini-Memo-san, that you committed murder yourself, and you tried to lay the blame at the defendant's door. I'm sorry, but you're no better than Giselle Brett.
What? True? You tried to cover your up.
The truth is, you have no right to talk about justice at all.
I suppose.
Yep. He's got a point, well, she's got a point.
It would appear that we have reached a conclusion in this trial at last. Counsel for the defense, Ryotaro Naruhodo.
Yes, sorry, Your Excellency, just using in a manly way here.
It's almost unbelievable that this is your first experience of the Supreme Court. It was an excellent performance. In truth, it very much reminded me of your cousin's experience.
Oh, Naruhodo Ryunosuke, you mean?
The way you handled the trial 9 months ago, and the way you handled this one, gives me hope that we are generally entering a new era of justice in this land.
That's very flattering, Your Excellency.
Hearing the defense you put forward today made me feel most good. That the future of our justice system will be forged by you and your contemporaries.
Thank you.
So, Prosecutor Ouch, do you have any final thoughts?
Oh. Prosecutor Ouchie. Oh god, that's not good.
I, Taketsuchi of the Ouchie clan, have been bested by a killer youth not once now, but twice. If there was any shred of my former self left, it has withered and died here today.
Gosh, your journey to cultural enlightenment sure took a while, didn't it?
Silence! Rather than living on in shame, I will end it all now with this blade. For that is a true path to Ouchism.
Jesus Christ. Ouchie isn't?
One hopes that's the only way in which he'll be modeling himself after witness.
Come on.
I'm not. Spring of my top knot. The time is right for farewell. Hope is lost forever. Taketsuchi. There goes the last bit of wisdom. Well, there you go. There we go. It's going a bit bolder now.
Wait. Everyone's just like praying in silence right now. What the fuck? I don't know why that got me that hard, but Jesus Christ. Oh my god, that was awesome. Oh my god, that was incredible. I love it. I loved it. Oh, I needed a good laugh. Oh my god, that was funny. Now, in regard to the defendant, remember me.
Yes, Your Excellency.
I've reached my final verdict. I hereby find you not guilty. Rain the confetti! Oh, rain the sakura blossoms! Right, Japanese. Rain the sakura blossoms! I don't know where they're coming from, but sure. This court is adjourned. Oh my god. 13th August, 2:48 p.m. Supreme Court of Judicature. Defendants at Chamber 3.
It's over. My heart is still pounding in my chest, though. It's all I can do just to stay standing. Lawyers have such great responsibility, such a great burden to bear. Don't they, Naruhodo-san?
I guess this one is going to be a short one.
Susato! Susato! Thank you. Thank you so much. You were so dashing in there. Ray and Father. Honestly, I'm so touched by everything you've... Oh no, I think I'm going to cry. It wasn't easy, but together we made it. I was on the verge of tears at the end, too. The only reason I'm still here is because of you. Oh no, I can't take all the credit. It took courage to tell the truth in there. You did wonderfully, Ray. So I would have to say that the congratulations belong to you. Susato, don't be so standoffish. Sorry? We're friends, equals, and the trial's over. So no more of this formal super humility nonsense. It's time to celebrate with swagger. To throw caution to the wind. Caution to the... What? I'm the great defense lawyer, Ryotaro Naruhodo, and I'm taking you out to a milk bar tomorrow. Or something. Right, I see. I'll, think about it, Ray. At any rate, we really knocked the wind out of that horrid man, and it felt so good. Yes, it was satisfying. It really was. Isn't there anybody else we could throw together?
I hope you're not looking at me.
Oh, my goodness. No, of course not. Of course not. There it is at last. Ray's lovely smile.
You fought for your friend to the very last. As your father, I'm extremely proud of you. Defense attorney Ryotaro Naruhodo.
Thank you, but I couldn't have done it without your help. Anyway, it's time to bid farewell to Ryotaro, I think. I shall miss him in a way, but it's back to Susato Mikotoba now. So, I'll never see him again then. What a terrible shame.
What? I don't know who said that. What? What is happening?
Ah, Saseki-san and Inspector Osonaga. I do hope you've been keeping well.
Is that really you?
Yes, I had to change my appearance for, well, obvious reasons, I hope. But it's me. Susato Mikotoba. I don't.
So dashing, so divine. No. doubly dashing, yes, and devilishly divine. Just look at you. I had no idea, Mrs. Sato-san Esquires, that you are locums to Nohodo-san Esquire's cousin. Astonishingly astounded Ace Attorney. Roll credits! Of course, the second son, so confused. Yep, after that. I still remember the first time I ever met him. He was in a prison cell in London. That was something. What an extraordinary occurrence was that the unwitting student from Japan found himself embroiled in. But after Naruto-san's skillful defense at the Old Bailey, Soseki-san was free to return to Japan. And now he seems to have earned himself great fame as an orphan. I'm stunned. That's a truly impressive disguise. Even I had no idea. And I'm a shimp inspector at the police who came up with Mr. Turtle notes. I'm not sure you should be admitting to that, Inspector. Amazing. You're a woman of many faces, I see. Just you, really. And this was a once-in-a-lifetime event. I hope. Oh, I'm not a patron on you, Inspector. Well, I am a professional, of course. I do worry about Inspector Osanaga sometimes. I really do. 9 months ago, when he appeared here at the Supreme Court to testify, he was undercover disguised as the head waiter of a restaurant. And then on the steamship to Great Britain, of course, disguised as a sailor to keep us safe on the journey. And now this. Well, that didn't help you, did it? Kazuma-sama. Yeah, he keeps kind of failing his job. From my perspective, I have to admit that I have mixed feelings about this. I mean, now the truth has been lost forever. What do you mean? I'm talking about the murder that the English woman committed at the end of last year. Ah, yes. It was an English doctor she killed, as I understand it. Dr. John H. Wilson, yes. The man I invited to Japan personally. The mystery is, why did she kill him? And now that the culprit herself is dead, we'll probably never know the answer. On the voyage to Great Britain, we had a most unexpected encounter. With Mr. Sherlock Holmes, the great detective, I mean. Yes, I remember Mr. Holmes well, of course. Ah, my arch nemesis. How lightly you utter his name. Well, according to the stories published about him in The Adventure of the Sherlock Holmes, the detective once had a partner who helped him solve crimes. A best friend. And that man was an exceptional doctor of medicine by the name of John H. Wilson. What? What? Dr. Wilson? I just can't believe that it's a coincidence. I think that the English doctor of medicine killed here in Japan 9 months ago must have been the friend and partner of Mr. Holmes. If that's really true, then the poor girl won't ever see her beloved father again. As you know, I traveled to Great Britain once myself to study. It was around the time you were born. Yes, Grandma told me about it. On returning to Japan, I took up my professorship at the Imperial Humane University. But I also serve another role, as an advisor to the government on diplomatic affairs. Yes, I was aware of that as well. In that case, I'm sure you understand that there are some confidential matters I cannot divulge to you. Could you just tell me one thing? Why did you summon me back to Japan? It's been 2 months now since I returned. When I left England, it was because an urgent telegram arrived from Japan. It said that you collapsed with a high fever and you were growing weaker by the day. What? What? Where did that news come from? That's what I'd like to know, because after that long sea voyage, I found you in fine health, Father. Was there something in Great Britain that you perceived might inconvenience me in some way? Or harm me? That's really the only explanation I can think of.
Dear me, you reserve your most cunning lairs for your father, son. I'm sorry, my dear. I simply can't.
Ah! Let me go! You're still here! Jesus. Mini Memo-san. So, 101 wasn't enough for you?
I've got one last thing to say before they take me away. Professor! Me? Me? I know the truth. I know you had a hand in what went on. In that visiting student's fate. Visiting student? Giselle Brett, you mean? No, not her. Student of law left for Great Britain 8 months ago.
What? Student of law? He must mean Kazuma-sama. What are you talking about? What does any of this have to do with Kazuma-sama?
Nobody here in Japan knows anything about it. They don't know about the guy that the guy never made it to England, that he died on that steamship, and that he'll never... Ah!
Oh!
The judge? God damn!
He also knows how to do the Susato toss.
Well, I didn't expect to find him in here. What were you officers playing? Terribly sorry, Your Excellency.
That was some timing, though.
Is it buzzing? I was coming to tell you that the rickshaw has arrived, and it's a good job I came by. Yes, thank you for dealing. I'll be there shortly.
Oh, Your Excellency.
The trial is over. I'm not Your Excellency anymore. Merely your father's friend, Seishiro Jigo.
Oh, his name is Seishiro Jigo. The judge has a name. That's a rarity. Oh yeah, a little fun fact about Ace Attorney games. The judges are never actually given a name, usually. This is the first time one is given a name.
And may I say that since I saw you last, you seem to have taken on a more dashing appearance. Susato.
Did you know all along, from the start of the trial?
Ha 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 ha. A judge sees everything, Susato. I couldn't let you take the risk. If Seiichiro here hadn't known, and then he'd recognize you. So I had a word in his ear before, as an old friend. So, Seiichiro, shall we? Yes, having ruled on that case, we now have various diplomatic issues to address.
Before you go, Father.
Sorry, my dear. We shall have to return to our earlier conversation at a later date. But well done again. Oof. You did admire me.
Oh, thank you very much. There is a lot of foot here, and a lot of mysterious things going... The politics here going on.
What did you think of my Seishiro sling? It's been a while since I saw a man flying like that. Ha 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 ha!
Seishiro's sling. Whatever could Father be hiding from me? About Giselle Brett, about Dr. Wilson. And now it seems, according to the reporter, about Kazuma-sama. I'm going to have to bring this up with Father sometime. When nobody else is around. Oh. Judicial Assistant Mikotoba Sutton Esquires. Can I have a word? Oh. Yes, of course, Saseki-san. What is it? I think perhaps it could be fate that we're meeting again like this now. Oh my god. You see? There's something I need to tell you. Oh? Oh? I believe that it may be related to the reason why your father summoned you back from England. This I have to hear. Please, Soseki-san, tell me at once. I I will! I will, I will, I will! As you know, my time in England was terrible. Cursed, I have no doubt. Such awful things I was embroiled in. Thank goodness Locum student Naruhodo's son, Esquire, stepped in. After securing my freedom, I couldn't wait to get on a ship back here to my homeland. Having arrived in Japan, I submitted a report about my experiences to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The next thing I knew, I had a visitor. It was your father, Professor Mikotoba. He wanted to ask me all sorts of things about my report. My father? He seemed to be especially taken with a particular part of the report. Anyway, he left eventually, having thoroughly quizzed me. But it was the very next day that he sent a telegram to you asking you to return to Japan. What was it then? The particular part my father was interested in? I don't really know exactly. But you remember them. Those two terrible cases I was caught up in. Of course I could never forget. Your father seemed to concern himself mainly with the second case. Second one? You mean the one Mr. Schultz forbade any of us to talk about in public? Which is why the only case involving you that any member of the board is aware of is the first. Well, I don't care. I don't have to listen to what that dastardly detective says. Anyway, the point is, it seems that case somehow holds the key to all these curious unanswered questions. That horrific, hideous, heinous case. The case of the haunted lodgings. Oh, because of the lodgings being people passing out. He somehow caused my father to summon me urgently back to Japan. I thought the whole business was over, but it seems I was wrong. Perhaps that was only the start. Perhaps the story is not yet told. That sounds like a segue for the next case, doesn't it? That very much sounds like a segue for the next case. Meanwhile, oh, we're back here again.
So, the mystery of that English woman's death is solved, thank goodness. And having stood in the Supreme Court now, I think I can comprehend a little better. How you must be feeling as you fight for people's freedom in a foreign land, Naruhodo-san. But actually, I'm writing to you today because of another matter. I met Soseki-san and we talked about that second case he was involved in. Father has said nothing to me, but I feel certain of it. That case holds the key to some great unsolved mystery. My notes on the case should still be in the office, tucked away at the back of the shelves on the left. Perhaps you might like to look over them again. Today, for the first time this year, it feels as though summer has arrived. The sky is a brilliant blue.
Aww.
It makes me long to see you again.
Aww.
Yours, Susato.
Double aw. More like triple at this point, but still. Aww. Oh, nice. And Kate. End? Yay! We finished the first case. That was actually short. Bro, that was a really short case. That was a very short case, now that I think about it. Overwrite, yes. Now then. Next up would be the Memoirs of the Clouded Kokoro. We can actually see the names of the next few, by the way. The Memoirs of the Clouded Kokoro will be the next case in our thing. However, I feel like this is a good spot to stop, even though it was a shorter afternoon stream. I think it's a good stop to stop. Like, we finished the whole case, so... And starting again and then having people... I think it would be preferable to just start the case from start next Sunday instead, the second case. We'll do a bigger one next time, basically, is what I mean to say. Also, welcome. Did not actually notice that until later. But yeah, either way, chat, I hope you did enjoy my stream, and for whoever is left, whoever is around, shame Raphael wasn't able to be here for this, but I'm still glad. For anyone else that watched and enjoyed this, I hope you enjoyed. For anyone else that watched, I hope you enjoyed the stream, and I will be seeing you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow, you know what? We haven't done the Sonic thing in a while, so I think we're gonna play Sonic Adventure 1 tomorrow. I think that's what's gonna be. Yeah, we're gonna play Sonic Adventure 1 tomorrow. Either way, chat, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye-bye!